Hi Year 9, I just want to make a short video on how to factorize trinomials for anyone who is still confused. Okay, so there are two methods to do this. The first one I'm going to call grouping method. So let's get my pen out. Method 1 called grouping method. Okay. So what we're going to do, the method 1 is what we're going to do is we're going to take the leading coefficient, in this case is a positive 2, and we'll multiply it with the constant, which is a positive 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, and we're going to rewrite this equation as x squared plus 7x plus 6. Then we're going to factorize this and say to ourselves, what two numbers multiply to give me a 6? And the same two numbers add to give me a 7. Okay, so we're going to say, okay, well, whoops. The two numbers I can think of is 6 and 1. 1 times 6 is 6, and 1 plus 6 is 7. Great, okay. So now we're going to write it in this format. We're going to say 2x here, because the coefficient of x squared is 2, so therefore we're going to have 2x. And we're going to put it over 2, like that. Okay. If it was a 3x, if this was a 3x squared, you put 3x and 3x over 3. So depending on what the leading coefficient is. Okay, so there's actually a reason why we actually write this, but this requires multiple steps to explain that goes in between, which I'm not going to bother explaining that because you don't really need to know that's not really that important. Just know that we're going to put it into this format, and now we're going to think, okay, so remember the 1 and the 6 that we figured out? We're going to plug them into these two places. So now you're going to have plus 1, and then you're going to have plus 6. Okay, so now we're going to look at the top two terms of this term and see which one we can factorize out. The first one, I don't think I can factorize out. I'll just leave it as 2x plus 1. But the second one, I can factorize a 2 out. So I can take a 2 out, and I can have x plus 3. We can divide the two terms by 2, so we're going to have x plus 3 as a remainder. Then it's still being divided by 2. Okay. Now we can cancel out these two, cross it out. We can simplify this fraction. Okay, so now your answer becomes 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. And there's your answer. We managed to factorize this trinomial using the grouping method. Let's try one that's a little bit more harder. Now in this case, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the leading coefficient, which is a 2, positive 2. We're going to multiply it to the constant, which is a positive 40. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite the equation is k squared plus 21k plus 80. Now again, we're going to think of what two numbers multiply to give me 80, but when add will give me 21. Okay, so this one's a little tricky. 80 has many factors. So let's look at the factors of 80. We're going to have 1, 2, actually, I'm just going to draw a factor tree here, so I'm going to forget that. I'm just going to have 8 times 10. And this will be 2 times 4. This will be 2 times 5. Okay, so 8 and 10 won't work because 8 plus 10 gives me 18, not 21. What about, what if I did 2 times 8? And then, so that's 16 and times 5. So I can have, so 80, I can have 16 times 5. And 16 plus 5 will give me 21, which works out to be pretty nice. Okay, so now we figured out the two numbers, which is 16 and 5. So let's plug it into the format. Now, what do we put here? The leading coefficient in this equation was 2k, 2, right? So we're going to have 2k, and over here 2k, and over 2. Now plug in the two numbers of plus 16 and plus 5. Why plus 16? Because it's a positive 16. Why plus 5? Because it's a positive 5. Now again, we're going to factorize one of the terms out. I can't factorize this one but I can do this one here. So I'm going to take a 2 out, and I'm going to have what's left inside, which is k plus 8. And on this side, I'm going to have 2k plus 5, the whole thing divided by 2. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross out the 2. It's like a fraction, you're simplifying, okay? And what you have left is there's no more bottom numbers. The divided by 2 is gone. And what we're left with is k plus 8 times 2k plus 5. And there's your factorized form of that question. Okay, let me just rub some of this out. A bit messy. Oh no. Okay. Try to rub that out. Okay. There you go. Now that's the grouping method. Now I'm going to do the second method, which I want to show you, and that's going to be called method 2, trial and error. Why trial and error? Because this one has a lot of guess and check in it. Okay. So I'm going to do the question 5a again, but this time using trial and error. So let me just rewrite the question here. 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. Okay. Now, the way this method works, I'm just going to draw a little line here. Okay. So the way this method works is you're going to think of, okay, what two terms multiplied to give me 2x squared and what two terms multiplied to give me a 3. Now, this is easy because of the fact that the 2 is a prime number, and we all know that prime numbers have factors of itself and 1. So therefore, the 2 can only have factors of 1 times 2. This is easy. Okay, so that means that when I write down the terms, I'm going to have 2x here, I'm going to have x here. That's the only possibilities. Okay, for 3, also a prime number, which makes this really easy. So the only thing I can put for 3 will be a 1 and a 3. So when you have the two numbers, you put it down like this, and you're going to put a crisscross. And most of you can recognize this as cross multiply. Okay. So now we have to just trial and error. Okay, just try, see if this works. If it doesn't work, then you're going to try a different one. So 2x times 3. So 2x times 3 will be 6x. Plus with x times 1, which is x, and that gives you 7x. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this middle number. When we do cross multiply, we're trying to get the middle number there, and it happens to work. Okay, so that means this is the correct solution here. Had I put a different number in, it wouldn't have worked. So let's say instead of putting 1 and 3, I put 3 and 1. It wouldn't have worked. And then I had to try. That's why it's called trial and error. You just try different numbers, you put them in different places, and see which one works. Okay, I'm just going to undo that. So in this case, the solution is 2x. This is a positive 1 and a positive 3. So I'm going to have the answer is 2x plus 1, and the other one is x plus 3. This method is it can be faster than the first method. It can be faster than the grouping method, but it can also be longer. It depends on the question, and I'll show you why. Now look at question 7, 7a, and I'll show you why this second method, the trial and error, can actually take longer if you come across questions like this. So first of all, I'm going to rewrite the question. So 2k squared plus 21k plus 40. Okay, so now 2k, that's easy. That means that this is a prime number again, so we're going to have 2k and k. Now with 40, I have, let's look at all the factors of 40. We got 1, we got 2, we got 4, 5, 8, 10, 20, and 40. There are 8 factors, which means that there are 4 pairs of 4 sets of possibilities. Here we go. So the first set will be 1 times 40, so 1 in 40. Or you could have 2 and 20. Or you can have 4 and 10. And 5 and 8. Okay, but you can also have, but because this is a plus 40, you can also have -1, -40, -2, -20, -4, -10, -5, -8. Sorry for the messy writing. It's on the side. It's on the side corner there, so it's hard to write. But also, when you do this, you can also mix it around. So what I'm saying, let's look at the first combination here. So I can put 1 and 40 here. But at the same time, if that doesn't work, I can put 40 and a 1. So I can mix that around and see if that works. So this one by itself, it already has two possibilities. You can move it back and forth. Here you have how many sets? You got 8 sets. Okay, 8 times 2 is 16. You got 16 possibilities of how you can mix and match things. And that is compared to this, which only has 1 possibility. If this was another number that's not a prime, let's say that was also, let's say it was 10, you're going to have 1, 2, 5, and 10. That means you're going to have 2 sets. So that means, so 16, if you have 2 sets, 16 times 2 is 32. You're going to have 32 combinations, okay? So that's a lot of combinations to try, trial and error. So that's why this method sometimes can take longer. But anyway, let's do this. Let's try this anyway and see what we get. Just undo all this. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try these ones. First of all, we know that the middle number is 21, positive 21. So I don't think that this would help. All these negative numbers probably won't help. Okay? So we're probably going to be looking at these numbers now. So what 2 numbers would add to 21 but multiply? Oh, wait. Yeah, to multiply to give me 40. So let's try it. So what if I put 4 and 10 here? So cross multiply, you're going to have 20k plus 4k, and that'll give you 24k. So that's not going to work. If I mix the numbers around and I say, let's say 10 was up here. So let's say 2k again and k. And instead I'm going to have 10 up here and 4 here. Cross multiply. And what do we have? We have 8k plus with 10k, and that gives you 18k. So that's not going to work either. So 4 and 10, not going to work. So let's try 5 and 8. So 2k, okay, it's 2k and k. I'm going to have 5 and 8. Cross multiply, and I'm going to have 8 times 2 is 16k, plus with 5 times k is 5k. Add together, you get 21k, which is perfect, which is what we're looking for. We're looking for that middle number to be 21k, and what we got is 21k here. So that means these are solutions here. This is your 2 solutions. So that means you have 2k plus 5 times it by k plus 8, which is exactly what I got on this side. But on this side, it looks like my one is a bit more neater. In this case, on the right side, when I'm using the second method, trial and error, for this, I happen to try, let's see, this, I did 1, I did 2, and 3. I did 3 trial and errors, and I happened to got the right answer. But what if it wasn't? What if I tried more and it took longer? So this method could possibly take a bit longer. So that's why I kind of prefer the grouping method, method 1. But it's up to you guys what you want to do. Do whichever way you find is faster. Maybe you're better at the second method. You're better at guess and check, and your brain can see numbers a bit easier. Okay. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope this helps. Send me any questions you need and I'll try and help you out. Okay, bye.